Hey everybody, we're back for podcast number 2 of the Jozabad Podcast. Today's date is November the 12th, 2020. Just coming off of that first podcast, I'm off of a little high right now, and it's amazing. We got a good show for you today. Today's guest is going to be none other than Vanessa Bautista, straight out of Sugarland. Sugarland's not a city, straight out of Michigan, should I say? And this girl Vanessa, she's got a great story to tell. She's got a great insight on certain items that we're going to be talking about. So let's give it up for Vanessa Bautista, everybody. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you. Nice to meet you guys. For everyone that's watching, and thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Vanessa. Vanessa, first and foremost, let's not break any time here, but I've only met you once, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that one time that I met you, you left a lasting impression of just how nice you were, and just in regards to the kindness that you and your family presented to me. But I do know that you're from California, and
yes,
Cali has a nice deep spot in my heart. I love Cali. Every time I go, it's my birthday, I go to LA.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it's a great time. Tell me a little bit about your background. How is it that California impacts your life?
Well, I mean, like you said, I was born there. I didn't grow up there just because my parents brought us all when I was 2 or 3, so I don't remember much. I know my older brother and my sister, they did go to school there. So that, I mean, they can tell you more stories about that. But I mean, I've gone back since then. I go visit family. I still have my mom's side of the family over there. And I love it. I love the people there. It's different. Some parts, but it's just so different. The environment, I guess just the way they treat you. I love the weather. The weather is that's like my favorite thing, I've always said. And I don't know, just I want to go back soon. I'm gonna go back soon once this whole pandemic is over with, if it ever happens.
I just turned on the live video on the Facebook page. So I got 2 cameras going. Again, I'm just messing with this. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying to have fun with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fine.
But the weather, man, the weather in Cali is amazing. Is it always like 60 degrees or 70 degrees? I mean, what's going on with the weather there?
I think it's like in the 80s. I want to say like the times I've gone, it's like in the 80s. So it's I'm always cold. So I have like a long sleeve, but at night it gets cold for me. It's like in the 60s. It's just you have a perfect day and then a perfect night. And then Disneyland and Six Flags over there. Oh, like I just can't wait to go back.
I've never personally gone to Disneyland. I've never, what's that other place that you said?
There's a Six Flags Magic Mountain. There's Knott's Berry Farm. One place that I do want to go to and I haven't is Universal Studios
in Cali.
That's a place. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go there.
Man, I've never been there. I tend to stay in LA. And I remember the first time I went there, I said, you know what, I got to go to Compton. I got to go to Long Beach. I got to, all the places that Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre talked about.
Yeah.
Alexa,
I've never been.
Play California Love.
Oh, yes. I've never been there. Long Beach, I've gone to go walk, but I've never stayed there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Alexa, stop. I love Alexa. Do you have an Alexa?
I don't. They offered me one with my Sirius XM. They were trying to get me to sign up, and they're like, I think it was called or Echo Dot. They're like, you know who Alexa is? And I was like, yeah, it's like that. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Alexa's amazing. I mean, I bought one for my wife. I bought one for the kids. I think we're at a point where like Alexa's become our best friend.
Yeah, she would be my best friend too.
Yeah,
if she got up and cleaned and whatnot.
Well, that's what the Ecovacs are for. The Roombas, you got one of those?
Yeah, no, but we're planning on getting a home in the next year. So for sure, that's one of the things on my list. That's the first thing on my list,
They're
actually.
they're amazing. I tell you, my wife loves it. She says we got to name it. Like the first day we got her, uh, her,
Or, yeah.
she named her Robutina.
Robutina, that's a good name.
Yeah.
Robutina. Real
So
creative.
so
Yeah.
so it's one of those things where we just say, turn on Robotina, and Robotina just goes. And at first, I had my reservations about it because I was like, really, it's not gonna freaking do what we can do.
Yeah.
Every single day, I that dustpan, it's crazy. Like it's
Dirty.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any pets
Uh,
indoor?
no, we used to have a
No.
dog.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Oh, okay.
But
Sorry.
yeah, no, no, no. Do you?
No, we want one. So whenever we moved into that new house, so that's why I was thinking of getting the Roomba
Uh huh.
because they shed.
Dogs and cats.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
No cats, just dogs. I mean, I like cats, but they scratch and they can be kind of mean sometimes.
Did you have
So
a
just,
Did you have a dog growing up? I mean, tell me a little bit about that.
yeah, I did have a dog. Her name was Kiara. She was a chocolate lab. I begged and begged and begged my dad, but I'm real like, okay, I'm gonna take care of it. I'm gonna take care of it. I'm gonna clean up after it. So it was an outdoor dog.
Yeah.
And I did for the first couple of months, but after a while, like I have two little brothers, so they would do whatever I would tell them. But I guess they grew up and they stopped listening to me, so they just got like her kennel got dirty, so my dad gave her away while I was at work.
My first dog that I had when I first had a house, the first time I bought a house, was a chocolate lab, and
Yeah, they're so cute.
they're amazing, but they
Yes,
are
they're really good dogs.
traviesos, man. I swear.
Yes, look, like so what happened was that I would always take her out of her kennel. So back then we used to have like acres in the back that would go towards like Benson. So she would always jump in the pool and my dad hated that because of the filter. So he's like, she can't get in the pool. And it's like, okay. And one day I let her out and she ran all the way towards Benson, like towards 6 Mile. And I was like, oh my God. So after that I stopped. I didn't let her out. So that's whenever like it went downhill. But she was the best dog. Like I loved her. I I can't
They
wait to get another one.
again, they're great. They look beautiful. But
Yeah.
man, my chocolate lab, I had to find her another home for with my uncle that could take better care of her. But
Yeah.
man, she messed up my backyard. Here I was like,
Oh no.
she would always be digging, and it
Yeah,
was just one of
that's
those
what
things
I've
where yeah,
heard.
yeah,
I've heard we want a German short hair pointer, and no, we're gonna go get a train because we can't. It's gonna be a new house. We can't have the backyard messed up.
yeah.
So yeah.
That's tough, man. That's tough. So then, okay, so you left California to Texas. You came over here, and you moved to Texas. You went through Sherryland school system. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I heard that you were a big sports fan. Like you were all into sports. Tell me about that. What were you into?
In elementary, I was always the one playing with the boys. I would get stiff armed by boys when we're playing football. I hated it because I was really small. Like I've always been small. Going to junior high, I played everything except for tennis and golf. That never interested me. Once I got into high school, my freshman year, I did softball and I did track. But since they were in the same season, I was never home. Like I would literally wake up, go to school, like go to practice, like come back home and sleep, and then again. So going sophomore year, I just stayed stuck with softball. Yeah, softball and Coach Cruz. He's like another dad.
Right on.
But yeah, yeah.
Did y'all like win any district championships or state championships?
Not state. We in high school we didn't get past the second round of playoffs. We always made playoffs. La Jolla was the one to beat. They had man, those girls were freaking awesome. We finally tied with them. I think my senior year, or we beat them. I'm not 100% sure, but that was like the best. That game in softball, there's 7 innings. I think that game took 9 or 10 innings, and we finally beat them at home also. So, but we didn't go past the second round.
Wow.
And yeah.
And is it true? I mean, for all the little girls listening out there, I mean, is there a lot of relationship building? Is there a lot of team building? Is there like a lot of lessons learned when you're playing not just softball but team sports?
Yes, I mean, so growing up, I always learned that respect like was the number one thing, and like your friendships like in high school. So once you go from elementary to junior high, like you meet new people, new friends, right? But from junior high to high school, my group of friends, I was always the type to hang out with everybody. But I had like my close friends were the girls on my team,
Hmm.
because we were together all the time. Like we were literally, we were always like with each other. So I think being in sports also it teaches responsibility. Like you're accountable for what you do in your position. Like without you, like everything falls, or like without someone in that position, like everything can fall apart. So that's one thing it really taught me. Just the discipline part, and I was scared of my coach. So yeah, yeah, I wouldn't even hold hands with my boyfriend at the time in front of him.
Now,
Because I was that like respect. I had him like super high. My
were
coach.
were you scared of the workouts because of certain like thing? I mean, what was permissible and what was not permissible? I mean, I got to know this.
I got in trouble once. I think it was one of the years. I was real, and I'm still real, like stubborn. And I had a teacher. She told on me. It was a science teacher. Oh, she told on me, and I got in so much trouble. So his punishment for me, it wasn't really a punishment for me because I love sprints. I loved running. So, but he made me sprint back and forth, and I
But
mean, I just found it as fun.
but the people of the podcast of the Jozabad podcast want to know, what did the teacher tell the coach?
No, it was so dumb. It's because we were like in I guess the new AP tests were out, and we were in this auditorium, and we were not allowed our phones. So I was texting, but I wasn't looking down because I had already the keyboard memorized. And she caught me. So I was like, okay. And then it was full. So she like embarrassed me. So I put my phone in my backpack, and then I started messing with my nails, and I was like looking down, but on purpose. So I was like looking down, pretending I was texting. And then she came like super quick to where I was at. She's like, Bautista. Like they would call me Bautista. She's like, what are you doing? Like, what? I'm not doing anything. Like I'm just playing with my fingers. And she told coach, she's like, you're gonna get it later, and I don't know what. So I was like, whatever. I didn't believe her, and then I saw her during practice, and I was like, damn it.
And so
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 there I go.
so it was like a text. It was a situation with the phone, and then it became a
Yeah.
situation with your nails or your fingers.
Yes, like it was just dumb. Like I wasn't a troublemaker in high school.
Uh-huh.
I like at all. Like I was like super, like I just had my friends, and I didn't care about anybody else. Like
Okay,
I
okay.
was just,
Let me
yeah.
ask you this, because I work in schools, right?
Uh,
Did you ever make it to detention?
One time I got sent to ISS for school, for the dress code. That was so dumb. Oh,
Okay,
Shareland's really strict.
on dress code.
Yes, it was so dumb.
Was it like a shorts clothing
Uh,
item?
yeah, I had a button up, and I would wear a tank top under, and on the side it kind of lifted because
Yeah.
on the lady shirts, like it kind of goes on round on the side, and I picked up my arm, and you were able to see my skin.
Oh
So I
my
got sent to
goodness.
ISS.
That's
Yeah.
that's that's uh that's unforgivable. You got to go to ISS for that. You got to go
No, I was so
3 days.
mad. I was like, seriously? No. Luckily, I didn't tell my parents because, like I said, I was in a troublemaker, and I didn't want to disappoint them. So I
Yeah.
called my sister. My sister was in college at the time. So she went to go take me a shirt, and she didn't tell my parents. She covered up for me.
Man, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So was it 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days?
It was like for a couple of hours.
Oh, just for
Like it was, yeah, it wasn't even a day. Like it was just so, I was literally in there with everyone who would always get in trouble. I was like, what am I doing here? Like,
right?
it's so dumb. Yeah.
What?
Like,
Let me ask you this: what did your parents say?
they never found out. I don't even think they know because it wasn't. Yeah. I did get in trouble in 8th grade though with my Spanish teacher,
Uh-huh.
but it was her fault. And my mom, like, they called my mom and everything, and it was like also dumb. But my mom backed me up on this because I told her the story. But after practice, my dad, he picked me up and we're driving, and he's like, "So do you have anything to tell me?" And he's like, "No, like everything was good." He's like, "Everything at school, like everything's fine." I was like, "Yeah." So apparently my Spanish teacher called my mom saying that I was rude and I disrespected her. So I told my mom, like, well, because in 8th grade we had PE or like sports in the morning, and then we
Right.
had like our periods. So you're hungry after you work out, and well, we would take hot Cheetos. So I knew my teacher liked hot Cheetos, so I would take them and I would share with everybody, and even with her. And then one day she didn't want to share with me; she would share with everyone except for me. So I was like, you know what, like f this. So I took the hot Cheetos that she liked on purpose the next day, and I was eating them in front of her, and she asked me for some, and I said no, like you didn't give me some yesterday, so why am I gonna give you some today? So she called my mom, and but whenever she was trying to tell my mom, like, well, Vanessa did this and this and this, she's like, well, she told me what you did. So she stayed quiet. Like she's like, okay,
Hey,
you're right.
let me ask you this. It's a very simple question. Were they hot
Mhm.
Cheetos or were they Hashiros?
No, they're hot Cheetos. Hot Cheetos.
I swear to God, I was at a I was what we call la pulga,
Yeah,
and my daughter wanted something to eat, right? And I go, well, let me go get you a snack. And I get to the counter, and
yeah.
I'm asking the lady, hey, you got any hot Cheetos? And she goes, what? I was like,
What?
hot Cheetos, you know, los fritos, right? I tell her, and she goes, sí, mira, ahí están. And I looked at the sign, and it was
Cheetos.
Jachiros, Hachiros.
Hot Cheetos. That's so funny. And they have it like super big on the bag.
Yeah, I mean,
But yeah.
I don't want to be rude or anything. I didn't tell her like, yo, like it's misspelled, like it's right on the
Yeah.
bag.
We still understand. We still
Yeah, yeah. That's the beautiful
yeah.
part about the valley, man. Like the valley merges these two cultures that we have, right? And
Yeah.
the Mexican culture and the American culture, and we're there, and it's
Ooh,
it's
like
fascinating.
we teach, yeah,
There's no other place like the valley. Would you agree?
there isn't. Yeah, I agree. So I mean sometimes I want to leave, but it's home. I mean it's home,
Yeah.
especially with their food, because if you go up north you don't find the food that they have down here.
Well, that's what I was going to talk to you about. So now you're talking about food, and you made me hungry when we spoke earlier, and we were talking about the King Tacos
Oh yeah.
and King Tacos up in California. I mean, I've heard about it. I've heard the rumors of how good they are, but you've had them. I haven't. So tell me about it.
Hi, they're just so good. I'm real simple. Like I don't like a lot of things. They have like the burritos, which is like rice, beans, and the meat. But the
Uh,
flavor on their meat, it's so good. Like nothing down here has compared to the meat over there. My boyfriend says that I'm just hyping it up, but no, like his son, he also when we went, he fell in love with it. So like that says something because that little boy, he does not like a lot of things. So I don't know, like if you guys ever go to California, go to King Taco and just enjoy it because once you come back, you're not gonna find anything like that.
so you're
That's for
talking
sure.
about the meat. You're saying that the meat it's like no other meat that you've had.
Yeah, it's the flavor. I don't know what they put, or I know that they started off as a small trailer, and they grew into now they have like like sit-in restaurant. Well, it's not a restaurant, but like a taco,
Right,
like
right.
sarape. Yeah,
Well, there's this
and then
place. I apologize, but man, like there's this place here in the valley that I say the meat is amazing. It's Aguilar's Meat Market. Shout out to Aguilar's Meat Market. But I have you had meat from there?
I'm sure when we go, no, I mean whenever we barbecue, we go to a rodeo here on 4 Mile.
Convenience, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
close.
I mean, I've tried so many different meat markets, and nothing, in my opinion, compares to Aguilar's meat market. The quality of the meat there is just so soft. It's got this different taste to it. I mean, grass fed. It's just so amazing. I challenge you to check it out.
I think there's one down the street also, more towards 107. I'm gonna try it.
That's
We're
correct.
actually gonna barbecue. Oh, sorry. We're gonna barbecue tomorrow for my boyfriend's birthday, so I'll stop there.
How old is he gonna turn?
32. We calculated yesterday. 32.
And you are? Oh, I shouldn't ask, but I already did.
I'm 21. Not just joking.
Uh,
I'm 29.
oh wow.
I
So,
know.
but and this is where we're gonna get a little on another topic here. So you're
Hmm.
29 years old, and we're here sitting down and having a good time talking about King Tacos and all that good stuff, and Cali.
Food.
But here's where I want to ask you some questions. So
Okay.
I've met you one time, and in that one
Yeah.
time, like I mentioned to you earlier, your family was very gracious enough to allow me to do something for my personal agenda.
Yes.
Nonetheless, I befriended you on Facebook, and I started following your story, and I started, and it spiked my interest because you're 29 years old and your body
Hmm.
has gone through such an incredible amount of impact. Tell,
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about that.
Um. Well, at 27, sorry, I'm like getting teary eyed. At 27, I got diagnosed with stage 4 colon or colorectal cancer. Um, I was actually thinking the other day, like, man, it's been about it's been a long time. Like I always tell my boyfriend that it's crazy how from one day to the next, my life like literally changed. I went to the doctor prior to like the diagnosis because my body it was going through things that it had never gone through before, and I just at first I didn't want to go, but one of my aunts also she got diagnosed with leukemia at 27, so
Hmm.
she would tell me, Vanessa, like just go to the doctor, like you don't want to risk anything, and I was like, okay, like I will. So she gave me some information on one of her doctors, one of a specialist. So I went and I would tell them my symptoms, which was a lot of people always ask me what my symptoms were.
Right.
Mine personally was weight loss. I've always been petite, so I've always tried to gain weight, and it's always been hard. But this time I was just like losing weight and unexplained. I would always eat. Like people would be surprised as how much I would eat. But I was still losing. I went from like 114, I went to 110, 105, 104 to like 99. It's like,
Right.
you know what, like I like something's wrong. So I went and I told my doctor, I was like, hey, like I know you said it was I'm gonna get like TMI, like hemorrhoids, right? Because I was bleeding. I was like, but something's not right. So she's like, oh, we can do a colonoscopy. Well, actually, I asked her for a colonoscopy and she said no at first. And I was like, well, I just prefer doing it like so I can have my peace of mind that it's not cancer. Because
Right.
I think God was trying to give me a sign because whenever I would watch TV,
Hmm.
commercials would come on about colorectal cancer. And I'm like, no, like it's just my head. It's just my head. So that's why I pushed for that colonoscopy. And I I went in thinking like, okay, it's gonna be ulcerative colitis because that's what my doctor had said that it most
What
likely was.
what was it? What was your doctor
Uh,
saying that it was?
ulcerative colitis,
Ulcer,
UC.
ulcerless colitis. UC.
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't know how to pronounce it.
that's
If
fine.
I had that, like I would know how to
That's
pronounce
that's
it.
what
But
that's what the doctor was saying. You might have had.
yeah,
Okay.
so I had gone on vacation. She's like, "Do you want the colonoscopy now?" And I was like, "No, I'm gonna go on vacation. Like, let me just enjoy myself, and then once I come back, like, I'll do it." So the day after I came back, I did the prep, which was it sucks, but I mean, it was worth it. And then I went. They put me to sleep, and thinking I was gonna be fine, and I woke up, and she's like, "You have cancer." Like that was literally the first thing she told me. Like, "You have cancer."
No
I
bedside
was
leadership whatsoever, just straight to the jugular.
no, yes,
Who was this? Was this a doctor or was this the nurse?
the doctor. She was my doctor.
Okay, so
I'm
you're
not gonna say any names, but
no, that's
I
perfectly
haven't
fine, and
gone
we don't
back.
want to. But like,
Yeah,
but what you're telling me? Wow. Okay,
yeah.
put put this is something that I want my viewers to just pay close attention to.
Mhm,
Your doctor does a study on you and
mhm.
almost immediately comes to you and tells you you have cancer. Like, it doesn't sugarcoat it whatsoever.
Yeah,
Wow.
she didn't. And I was like, "What? Like, are you sure?" And she's like, "You have a tumor and it's big." And so I was thinking like, "How can you tell me this? Like, you need to go get it sent to, do a biopsy." But then I thought, I guess because I was so drowsy because of the medicine,
Right.
so I was just like crying and crying, crying, thinking like, how can this lady tell me this? Like she doesn't even know. But then when I came to my senses, I'm like, you know what, this is what she does for a living. Like she must know what it looks like, So
Right.
she ordered a CT scan for later that week. But
Mhm.
luckily my aunt works with with doctors and she got me in to get a CT scan like within the next couple of hours, which this doctor was pissed about, which I don't know why. She was really mad. So whenever I went back to the follow up,
Right.
um, she told me it was okay. It's cancer. I was like, okay. She's like, does your aunt have any oncologists that she prefers? I was like, what? Like, you're my doctor?
Mhm.
Like, she was really rude. And I was like, well, I've heard about MD Anderson. She's like, we don't refer to MD Anderson. I was like, okay. So
Wow.
she got me a surgeon. Yeah, she got me a surgeon. I threw it away. Sorry. I thought, sorry, my brother's here.
It's okay.
I know, I didn't know. Sorry. Cause I'll tell you later. Um, where was I? Yeah, she said that she didn't refer to MD Anderson and that they only work with certain doctors. So she got me a surgeon. So here in the valley, so I went to my surgeon. He's the one that told me it was stage 4.
Mhm.
Why did he tell me it was stage 4? No, you know what? Okay, so I got the CT scan and they had the radiologist who saw the scans only saw that tumor in my rectum.
Mhm.
But then I give the scans to my aunt because she reads scans also,
Right.
and she knows kind of more about it. So she had her radiologist look at it and they found a small lung nodule. So she's like, you know what, Nesha, she calls me Nesha. She's like, how about you get a a PET scan, just to be safe. And I was like, okay, like why? She's like, no, it's nothing. Like don't worry about it. And I was like, okay. So I got the PET scan, and I guess they sent the results to my surgeon, and it was stage 4. Like it was a really really small nodule that it could have easily been missed. But I went to his office. My appointment was like at 2. I didn't get out of there till like 7. I was so mad. And then on top of that, he told me that he told me it was stage 4. So I was like, okay, like I was like calm, I had already gone through my emotional thing.
Right.
But then my mom was in there and with my aunt, and they took me to another rooms to examine me.
Mhm.
And then I asked him, I was like, hey, like you're this surgeon, like a colorectal surgeon, like what do you think my chances are to beat this? And he's like, I was like, what? Like seriously, like that's what you're gonna give me?
Right.
And he's like, he just didn't give me any hope. So I walked out of there and I've never been back there. And which surprised me because he's, from what I've heard, he's a really good surgeon. Like he's a really good doctor.
Mhm.
Um, I I made an appointment with MD Anderson and I stuck with them. I loved my team from the beginning.
Right.
They got me in right away, and my surgeon there, he's like, just because you have stage 4 cancer doesn't mean you're gonna. He's like, don't Google it. He's like, you're in the beginning stages. If you Google it, you're gonna see that you're gonna die in like 3 months, or.
Right.
So he's always been really positive. Um, I won't go to anybody else but that
I'll
MD.
I'll tell you what though, man. This was 2 years ago, yeah?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, man, and you're a living testimony that all things are great
Yes.
through God Himself. There's no other reason, there's no other way. But
Mm-hmm.
God through Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
right? Amen.
Yes. Amen. Honestly, like before, my mom, like before this whole cancer diagnosis, my mom was like, "Did you pray today?" And I was like, "Yes, mom, yes," but I wouldn't until this happened to me. And then unfortunately, this had to happen to me
Uh huh.
for me, for my faith to grow. Because when I was younger and I was doing like my confirmation, I would always ask questions, or how do you know this is true? And I want proof. Like, how do you know the Bible wasn't written? Like, and I was real stubborn. And I asked God for a sign, and He gave me one. Like, He gave me one 2 days before my first surgery.
Hmm.
And that since then, like, I know He's there. I know He's listening. I know He's there. Like, it's His will to heal everybody, and everyone's going to get healed.
Amen. Amen.
Yes.
I mean, wow, that's a powerful testimony, and that's part of the reason why I asked you to be a part of this, because lessons learned through experiences, and experiences help others around me. And I think I read that in one of your posts where you're like inspiring individuals to get checked, listen to your
Yeah.
body, and you're young, man. You're a leader. You know.
Thank you. Yeah. Like, one thing I do tell people is, even if it's like a little thing that changed, in my case it was my restroom habits.
Hmm.
If something changes, or if you see something that's not normal, like, okay, once, like, let it go. But if it continues, like, just go get checked. Like, I know, and it's embarrassing to talk about because it's in my rectum, like, not a lot of people want to talk about that. um
Right.
I've never had so many people look at me in that area. But if I would have gone sooner, or if I would have, because I had symptoms about 3 years before I even went to the doctor.
Hmm.
So if I would have gone earlier, I would have maybe avoided a lot of things that I've gone through. But I mean, everything happens for a reason, and
Now,
I'm here, and hopefully I'm here for a good time,
now you're
a
you're
long
a
time.
you're a mom also,
I'm a mom.
and
That was,
how old
uh,
is your child?
she's 6 now.
So
She's
six
6.
years ago. So 6 years ago, 23 years old. Were you feeling stuff then?
Um, Not then, but in high school, I would. I The other day, and I actually posted about this. I was just thinking, like, I think a lot. Like, I have really bad anxiety. I just tend to overthink, and I was thinking that I wouldn't go to the restroom like in school. Like, I would go to the locker room to go to the restroom.
Hmm.
So my friend Ariel, she would go with me like that. We would meet up to go to the restroom. It was super dumb. Okay.
Y'all were
So
skipping.
no, we were at school. We needed to go to the
Go to
locker room.
class. Go to class. You,
Yeah.
you don't belong here, right?
Yeah. So I told her, I was like, "Hey, Kuni," I call her Kunis because hopefully she marries one of my brothers. But I was like, "Hey, do you bleed when you go to the restroom?" She's like, "What? No, like, that's weird." And I was like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "You probably popped a vein." I was like, "Okay." So I would bleed in high school, but not often. So, and I need to ask my doctor about this. Like, I think my cancer was slow growing. So what if I had like a polyp when
Mhm.
I was 17? I was a
Mhm.
junior, she was a senior, so I was 17. Like, so what if I had like that little polyp when I was 17? If I would have told my parents, like, "Hey, this is happening to me," maybe I would have found out when I was 17.
Uh, and part of that, I mean, I have a 12-year-old, and part of that
Mhm.
is that the conversations that need to be had are not had because we feel that it's embarrassing, or we feel that
Yeah.
you know what, it's not that important. Or but the thing that we're learning, and I talked about this yesterday in that in my first podcast, that we need
Mhm.
to learn to communicate with our families to better understand them, because that's what we're trying to figure out. I want to understand
Yeah.
your perspective.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really important. I have a cousin who tells her mom everything,
Hmm.
and man, she's brave because I still don't tell my mom like a lot of things, not a lot of things, but like certain things I don't talk to her about, but she talks about everything. And I'm just like, wow, like if I would have been open to her like that, maybe we could have avoided a lot of this. So it's really important for kids to talk to their parents when they think something's not right or something's not normal. Because who's your I was telling my boyfriend, like, you're your own advocate. Like, if you
Mhm.
don't advocate for yourself or your kid, like, if your parents don't advocate for you, then nothing's gonna get fixed or nothing's gonna come out of it, you know? Because no one cares for you except for your family.
Or no one cares about you more than yourself should.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one thing I've learned. And my little girl also, she sees a specialist. I took her to Houston too because the specialists here, they was just like back and forth, back and forth. I was like, you know what, like I'm tired of this. Like I'm just gonna take her to Houston and they're doing something about it, you know?
Now let me ask you this.
So
Let me ask you this because you bring up an important topic of conversation in my mind.
yeah.
You have hospitals here in the valley, and the valley is consisted of different counties from Willacy all the way to Stark County, right?
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
and and in there you have a large amount of hospitals in the McAllen area, in the Harlingen area, in the Brownsville area. Westlaco has a hospital as well. Rio Grande has a hospital as
Yeah.
well. I mean, so we have hospitals. It's not like we don't have hospitals. But what's the difference from, just in broad terms, what is the difference from hospitals in the Valley and hospitals in Houston? Why did you, as a parent, decide to take your child to Houston as opposed to keeping them here? Was it the wait time? What was it?
I think it's the sense of urgency that they have over there. I mean, it's a fast-paced city. I feel like here everything's more we're like cultured Mexican culture, you know? So everything's like, oh no, like it's okay, mija. Like, you know, like I feel like it's like that here in the hospitals. And I'm not trying to bash the doctors here or
No,
anything
not
because
not
there
at all.
are good doctors.
Right.
Yeah. But I just feel like over there they're quick about it. Like if you have something, at least with the doctors that I've dealt with, like if you have a concern, they're gonna look into it.
Mhm.
They haven't let me down. So I think until they do, then I won't stop going over
And
there.
and you know what? So the perception is that the turnaround is greater in those metropolitan areas as opposed to our area.
Yes, and I think since it's a larger city, there's doctors that are from all over the world, like all over the country. They go to that specific area because that's where everyone's at, you know? So I think that they bring what they've learned together and they have their team and like my team, it's not just my surgeon and my oncologist. Like I have literally like a whole board, you know, that they I had a fistula. It's like a little hole that goes from one area to another.
Mhm.
I heard my doctor on the phone with another doctor from somewhere else, like, what do you think we should do? And I heard her like saying back, well, these are her options. And so they bounce ideas back and forth. And I feel like here it's just like one way and that's it.
Well, collaboration is very important,
Yeah.
in all aspects. Um, and you're talking to somebody who is getting his doctorate in healthcare administration. So it's very eye opening to hear how we can better make our hospital systems here in the Valley. Not to say that
Yeah.
that's not happening, but education is very important in order to make progress. So
Yes.
earlier you heard me talk about bedside leadership, and bedside leadership is a term that one of my buddies in California is doing his dissertation on, and
Okay.
he feels that, again, that right there, when your nurse is at your bedside, it's important to care, to give um, urgency to their needs, and just make them comfortable to the maximum
Yes.
extent possible. So
Yeah.
what I heard you say was that bedside leadership was not there. But I can understand the flip side. And the flip side is there is something urgent that I'm seeing and there's no way to sugarcoat it. I need to let you know now.
Yes, and I'm the type of person who is like, "Hey, you tell me straight out." So, I guess I minded because I was, like, in a vulnerable stage, and with anesthesia, you're, like, out of it.
Right.
So, I'm glad that she told me that because if we would've waited the 10 days, I would've been 10 days behind, and, man, like, cancer spreads like a wildfire, like, it spreads quick, and it's scary. So, I mean, I'm glad she told me quick and I was able to do something about it when I did. Just she could have said a little bit like, you know, not like we have.
Let me put some sprinkles on it.
Yes, just a
Just
little bit,
let me sprinkle my fairy dust. And no, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but
No,
no,
yeah.
that's something. It's building relationships most importantly, and I would
Mhm.
probably venture to say that your doctor, you know, maybe didn't carry a great relationship with you because the professionalism. You're my patient. I got to be very
Yeah,
professional. And that makes sense. But
it
I mean,
does.
on my, I'm the type. I'm just like you. Give it to me.
Hmm.
Give it to me straight. You know. But at the same time, be real with me. Let me know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And I feel like my doctor over there and I speak about my surgeon more because he's the one that I've seen from day one. He's the first one I spoke to over there.
mhm.
He's always been man, I've seen him cry with me, like he's cried with me. He's held my hand, he's held my parents' hand, like he's prayed with my mom. Like he's a really nice man.
Yeah.
Like I can speak very highly of him.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's good, man. So earlier we were also talking about music that that you go on. Some of it ranges from Intocable to Blue October and country. And not that this is a complete flip of what we're talking
Yeah.
about. But what were some of the items that you were talking about, or that you were listening to in that time, and what are you listening to now?
Well, yeah, like Blue October, I've never seen them in concert, and I don't even know if they're still like together, but I like to listen to really old music. So like the whole Intocable, like Duelo, Signo, like I love that music. But depending on my mood, when I work out, I listen to techno, to EDM, to festival music. When I feel like more relaxed, I listen to country. Like, I just get real into it. So I don't know like lyrics, but I like the tune.
You call Intocable old, you call EDM festival music old. You're making me feel old. I mean, because
No,
that's
no, no, like older because I know now people listen to like rap and like I don't know, it just gives me a headache sometimes and I'm just like,
yeah.
what? Like my little girl, she listens to like reggaeton. I'm like, where the heck did you learn this? But
Your
her
6-year-old
dad,
listen to reggaeton.
because like her dad, like on that side, like they listen to that type of music.
Alexa,
So
play Despacito.
yeah, oh my gosh.
Despacito by Luis Fonsi and Daddy Yankee from Apple Music.
Is this some stuff
Yeah,
that your daughter listens to?
this is what she listens to, and I'm like, where did you learn this? Because I do not listen to that. Now I do
I
because of her, but this song I learned because of her.
really.
Yes,
Oh wow, yeah. I'm not a big
yeah.
fan of this. I'll tell you what I am a bigger fan of. Look, hold on, check this out. One of my boys from Nigeria. Shout out to
Okay, that's neat.
shout out to Chib, because he turned me on to this type of music. Check this out. Hold on, Alexa,
Okay.
play Afrobeats playlist.
Afrobeats hits from Apple Music.
It's real like calm and smooth.
It's feel good music, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Well, it's not even. Yeah, it's like a nice beat to it, like a real like chill.
yeah. I can
Yeah,
listen
you
to
see,
this
this is what I
all day,
listen.
every day.
Yeah, like it's real relaxing. Like the other music just like makes my heart race. Like,
Right.
yeah.
So that's Nigerian Afrobeats playlist,
Oh
and
wow, I need
like
to write that down.
there's just a whole bunch of good music there. Like it's very very chill, very very good. I don't
Let me write
understand
that.
I don't understand a lot of the stuff that they're saying, but it's
Yeah.
great. It's great.
Yeah, like my boyfriend, he's also like, hey, listen to this Indian type music, and it's like real, it's different. I'm like, oh wow, like like he goes on YouTube and he'll like start scrolling and
Uh,
he comes across some different things, and it's just different. Like everyone's culture
it,
is
it
like
it
so.
it really is, man, and I think that's what we miss here in our areas. Given our area, we're about 99% Mexican, so
Yeah,
we stick to what we know, right? Which is Mexican
yeah.
music and so forth, and like some top 40 and some country and so forth. But at what point does one break the barrier and start seeking other cultures to understand? So
Yeah,
so
you
you
have to
graduated from
expand.
Sherryland, right? And it was probably around the same thing, 99% Mexican,
I would say so. Yeah, more than likely.
right? And
Yeah.
I went to a high school where I had different cultures. I had you know, let me see, Nigerian, I had Filipinos, I had
Oh wow.
Koreans, African American. There's just a wide range of cultures.
Where'd
And
you go?
in Mercedes, there's this place called South Texas High School for Health Professions, aka Med High.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna go there, but they didn't have sports, so I was like, nah, it's okay.
Yeah, I I could care less for sports, other than
Yeah.
what I watch on TV, But other than that, I mean, it's one of those things where like you get in where you fit in, and I was always like
Mhm.
one of those individuals that I love education. I love to learn.
Yeah.
I love to learn new things, and that's where we're at, man. But going back to going back to you, we talk about music, we talked about food, we talked about don't ignore your body. Um,
Yeah.
what what final message would you tell our listeners out there? I mean, what else? What would you tell young girls out there? That are finding their way.
I mean, I would tell them the same thing. If you don't feel that something's right in anything, not just like your body, but just in your life, like if you feel that it's wrong, go do something about it. Don't ignore the red flags. Don't stay quiet. Like speak out because like I said, you're your best or your best advocate. Like no one's gonna offend except for yourself. Like you're gonna do it for you.
Hmm.
And like for example, my little girl, she was my biggest motivation. Um, like I asked God, like, hey, like if it you lend her to me, so I mean at first I was mad. I was like, but if you're gonna why are you gonna take me away from her, you know? I
Hmm.
was like, but if it's your will, for me to stay in her life, then heal me or, give me more life. Or if it's your will to heal me by like letting me pass, like then that will be too, like she'll have my memory. But that's something that I try to teach her is that she has to stand up for herself. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the most I can say.
So you're telling girls stand up for yourselves,
Yeah.
be your biggest advocate.
Yes.
Right on. Now here's where we start talking about what the future holds for Vanessa. So, what is
Mhm.
something that you're working on right now? What are some projects that you're working on that will definitely that are huge in your life right now?
Right now, I am still employed by Wells Fargo. I don't know when I'm gonna go back, but I've started a small business. I started this like 3 summers ago. And it started off something small, but now I do bridal invitations, event invitations, custom gifts, and we recently started a construction company. So we're in the process of building our second home. So if you guys need a house, let me know.
What's the name of your
um,
company? What's the name of your bridal event company? Tell our listeners who to look out for.
For the bridal gifts and invitations, it's Aria's Treasure Chest. I started this name because I had something else in mind. So one day soon I'm gonna rebrand. but you can find me on Instagram or on Facebook, Aria's Treasure Chest. The construction company, we just started it this year, Lone Star Homes. That's with my boyfriend. We built our first house, and before we even finished it, we sold it. So now we're on our second home. Hopefully the same thing happens. And yeah, I mean, our goal is to have different incomes from different sides. So
you're a smart girl. you already, I mean, you're way beyond your years. At 29, you already know, hey, you gotta have different avenues of income.
you have to. I mean, it's, for example, like I work with Wells Fargo. Say I would have had to like leave that job. Like, where was I gonna get money from?
Right.
I'm not the type of person. This has been the longest I've ever been out of work. Like, not at somewhere like working. So it's hard. I've always like, oh, whenever I would be at work, I'm like, man, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. But no, that's not for me. Like, I need to go do something.
Right.
But if I would have lost my job there, like, where was I gonna get money from? Like, I'm not the type to go ask, like, hey, you have to pay for my things since we're together. Like, no, we're 50-50. So we have to. That's another thing we're trying to teach the kids. Like, you have to work hard for what you want.
Yeah. It's very important. Now, this is something that I've discussed with several people. Like, at what point did you start understanding that you need to work hard 50-50, have different sources of income? Around más o menos what age?
I want to say I started really young. By the time I was in college, I already knew that if I wanted something, I had to save for it. I couldn't go out spending. I never went through that, like, oh, I'm gonna get my paycheck, I'm gonna spend everything like on one weekend. My parents always taught me, I had a car payment, so I need a phone. Anything I wanted, I had to pay for it. So like my car, my phone, my food, everything. So I think by 18, 19, I was already building my credit. I wanted my credit score to be as high as it could be. I mean, I had a few setbacks, but
right. I mean, every teenager does, but who taught you about credit? I mean, I think that's important, but who taught you about that? Was it your parents or was it somebody at school?
You know what? No, my parents never talked to me about that. My aunt, the one that I said that had leukemia, she's the one that talked to me about it, because she was paying bills. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I didn't know anything. She's like, oh, I'm paying my credit cards. Like, oh, like, what is that? And she's the one that told me, like, don't pay your minimum payment. You always want to give double. Like, you want to not spend more than 30% of your credit limit. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's something I was really good at it. But you meet people and you lend them your credit. Like, don't ever lend people your credit. And
even if they're family?
Even if they're family. Like, unless you have money to put up, if they cannot pay, and then do it, but I'm just like, no. Like, I learned my lesson, and my credit, believe it or not, it went to like 520. I was so embarrassed. Like, and this was 5 years ago. I was like, oh my God, like, my credit's never been like this. And now it's like at a 750. So I was like, okay, like, I did what I had to do. I budget myself, and that's what I'm trying to teach my little girl.
Shout out to the club 750 and above.
Yeah. Yeah.
We enjoy the finer things in life, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah, I'm still trying to get to that 800 mark, but
that's hard. It's hard.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, though, man. My brother, I think he's already hit that mark. I almost hit that mark. I was like 5 points away, and then all of a sudden it goes back down.
Yes, you're like, what did I do? No, that's one thing we're working. My boyfriend and I, we want a home. So from the beginning, when we first met, like, we happened really quick. Like, we met and we just hit it off, and he wanted the same things I wanted, financially. He comes from a family, like, when he was younger, he didn't have a lot. I was fortunate to have parents, like, with some money, but things happen. So I learned quick, and he said that he doesn't want to grow up the way, or he doesn't want his son to grow up the way like he did. So now we're just hard workers for my little girl and for his son.
I tell
Um,
I tell my daughter, like recently, like I started like telling her, hey, you want to buy something, buy some stocks, right? And
yeah.
she's learning like, oh my God, how much money do I have now, Dad? Like,
Yes. My little girl wanted she wanted the Sims like on the Xbox.
uh-huh.
And I was like, well, how it was like $50. And they go, how much money do you have? And she like brings out her little mailbox, like she has her money. She had like 20 some dollars. And I was like, I don't know, like, but I mean I gave her the difference. She tried to keep the mailbox with her money. And I was like, no, 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 no. I was like, that you use towards your game. So
Uh-huh.
now she's saving again for a Nana surprise doll.
It's very important.
But
We give these lessons to
yeah.
our kids, saying like these are lessons that we didn't get, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I mean, I didn't get those, but that I think it's really important to teach them young.
yeah. Hey Vanessa,
Yeah.
hey, man, I want to thank you for spending an hour with us. It's been a
Well,
pleasure
thank you for having me.
hearing your story. It's been a pleasure having you here as a guest on episode number 2. I'm pretty excited
Thank
for it.
you.
You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes we have this idea in our head, but oftentimes we don't
Run
implement.
with it.
Yeah, we don't implement. We failed.
Yeah.
We failed to execute, and
Yeah.
I'm on the mentality of I have the idea, let's do it. If I fail, I'll learn from it. But if I want to make it better, how bad do you want it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And after going through like the whole cancer ordeal, like that's one thing you mentioned was my hair color. It's like, okay, like I went from like blonde to like red. I was like, you know what? Like you only like YOLO, right? Like you only live once. So you know what? Just like screw it. Like who cares what people think? Like if it's different or whatever. Like you bite the bullet and you do what you have to do to get where you want.
Alexa, play the Model by Drake.
Motto,
Ever.
featuring Lil Wayne by Drake from Apple Music.
I'm a fucking man.
Oh,
This brings back memories. I listened to this too.
This is YOLO, right? This is where he says YOLO.
That I don't think so. This one, maybe. I don't know. I suck at lyrics.
Yeah. Anyways, you say YOLO, and I remember there was
Oh
that
yeah,
whole
you
time.
only live once. That's a motto. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, it is.
There we go.
Well, hey
I
man,
have to get into it.
it's been an amazing journey here talking with you. It's been great talking to you. One final message. Let's recap. Um, one last thing you want to tell out to our viewers or our listeners. This is going to be out there for years and years and years. Unless the internet shuts
Yeah.
down. But what do you want to tell them?
I mean, I'm gonna say it again. Listen to yourself. Listen to your body. Believe in God. He does miracles one way or another. Like he's there. He's listening to you. And I know firsthand because I went through some hard. In the beginning of this year, I was in a state where like I didn't even want to be here anymore. And like, look at me now. Like I'm happy. I'm loving life.
With
Like
red hair.
with red hair. Like it's just God has man, he really pulled through for me and my family. And stay close to your family because they're the ones who are gonna push you through everything. Man, they were there for me. All of them.
Well,
Family's like your number one thing.
well, your family was there for me. I appreciate it from the
Yeah.
bottom of my heart.
Yeah, my
And
family is super nice. My parents, they're really nice.
yeah, and we'll be back, and we'll definitely keep in touch. Any where can they follow you on Instagram, on Facebook, whatever social media you want to give a shout out to?
Well, you can find me. My Facebook is I'm under Vanessa Bautista. I think I have like I'm shooting a gun at the range. On Instagram, yeah, it was pretty fun. I was scared. I was nervous, but I did good. On Instagram, I'm under Nessa09, I think. Just search me up. Like I'm real open about my life. If you guys have questions, feel free. Don't be embarrassed. I'm an open book. So there you go.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. That's the end of our
Oh,
podcast for today. Vanessa, it's
thank
been a
you.
pleasure. Thank you so much. And we'll see you guys on episode 3. Bye, guys.
Awesome. Bye.